Hello, everyone. How does this thing work? All right, so here today either to encourage you to go through MLI Select or discourage you, depending on how feasible your project is. You'll probably see. Okay, so my name is Max. I work with a company called Peak Capital. Peak Capital, we're a lender out of Toronto here. Do probably $4 billion in CMHC financing this year across the country. We got about 70 people, so it's a fairly large firm. On the multifamily side, financing anywhere from 5 to several hundred units. I've kind of gotten involved on the multiplex stuff in Toronto, in 10 units and under, just because that's really like some of the few apartments that are working, projects that are working in Toronto. We'd love to be doing 100, 200, 300 unit purpose-built rentals in Toronto, but it's not really happening. So that's why you guys are here, and hopefully, doing projects where you can pull all your money out, get 100% loan to cost or close to that. We do other than CMHC financing, we have other stuff like bridge loans. We do some conventional loans. We do mezzanine financing. We have some JV equity that's obviously selective, but active in the States. Looking in Canada, hard to find opportunities in Canada, but we continue to look. Anyways, we'll breeze past this. Okay, so how many here, by show of hands, familiar with MLI Select? So, do I need to go over it? Anyways, I'll gloss over it. But last year, we'll talk about it. Yeah. So last year was Chris put it on, and it was kind of the first year MLI Select was around. Not many people had executed on the program yet, so we kind of went through it high level. And the difference between now and then is that this is practically all. This is like 90% of what I do is CMHC financing, MLI Select, and I've seen the full sales cycle. I've seen the full cycle of go in, get approved at CMHC or rejected, and then fund. So now that we're about 2 years into it, I think in March 2022 was when it came out. You're gonna hear about some of my opinions. So obviously, number one for you as a builder, let's say you're a builder, you got to know the features. Then you got to set up the project to qualify. You got to know who are the stakeholders involved in accessing it. So a lender like myself, maybe a broker as well. You got to match the timeline it takes for me to get you approved with your project start date. And then you can't forget how much money you actually need to get it done. Because when it came out, everyone was like pointing to the graph, like, oh, it's going to be 95%. You only need 5% down. Not true. Okay. Not true maybe at the outset. At the end of the day, you might only be 5% in, but it's really not true in terms of peak equity. Like, you really have to take care of that. Okay, so we'll go through this very quickly. So MLI Select in Ontario, all you have to worry about is energy efficiency right now. Those requirements might change, like the energy code is being updated. Whether or not CMHC chooses to enforce new energy codes, we don't know. As of now, there's no changes. So that's really all you can, count on is what the product is today. So the guy was here earlier, Jaden. He left. He took off because we just closed a construction loan today, actually, with him and his other partner, Paul, here. You can go talk to him. But he does the energy models. So you would basically hook up with Jaden. He would do your energy model. You get the appraisal. Submit to CMHC. Let's say, I know, Chris, I was supposed to only talk about takeout, but I'll talk about construction just for a bit. And then the benefits are more proceeds, 50-year amortization, probably 30 to 40% more than you can get with a conventional loan. So no brainer if you're trying to solve to an IRR or something like that, right? Okay, at the beginning, property acquisition for construction. I'll breeze through this as well. Doesn't matter. Use any lender. Banks, you can go to, if it's a house, get a regular bank loan on a house. If you're tapped out on residential financing, you could go to like a builder finance group that won't look at won't look at your personal income. So those rates are about 7.2 at around prime. And then private lenders, there's guys here. Matt from Foremost is here. He could do that for you. Again, that's Jaden, energy guy. That's his email up there. So you're going to need him in order to submit an application, or someone like him. So email him. And then 6 to 7 months basically to fund a construction loan. So you have to understand that your floor layouts need to be done. You need to be like close to being shovel ready. And then it still takes 6 to 7 months to fund your construction loan. On a 5-plex, obviously this is a huge pain in the ass. So sometimes the timelines don't always line up with what you need. And it causes a lot of issues, obviously, in terms of, let's say you want to start construction. You start construction, but you don't have your construction financing lined up, so you're going to have to fund it with cash. So what am I saying is that you're probably going to have to go in with a lot more equity than you think. Okay. Let's go back a little bit to project eligibility. So I've had a couple projects where we've gone to CMHC and we've actually been declined because of stupid rules that they didn't think about before they implemented the program. And people create their whole business plans around it, and they go into CMHC, and CMHC says, oh, sorry, because this, and that, we actually can't even entertain this at all. And then we're just left with, like, just twiddling our thumbs, like we can't do anything. So there's two things, okay? This is what CMHC needs to hear, okay? So let's say you had a triplex, okay? It was rented before, and now you want to make it into a 6-plex. You want to use CMHC, you want to use MLI Select. Technically, you cannot use CMHC Select construction for that because it's kind of an existing rental, but in their eyes it isn't because it's not 5+ units, so it doesn't fall under any program. It's too complicated for them, and they just will deny it. It's just a loophole. It's not a loophole. It's a hole in their policy that they say that they're going to address. Months ago, they told me they were talking about it, and in a couple months it'll be resolved. It's not resolved, so just keep this in mind and demolish the property first, or at least make it seem like it's being demolished. That's what they need to hear. So that is huge, and that's a lot of properties are not full demolitions. But that's how it needs to be positioned, and framing is obviously super important, okay? And then if you're applying for new construction financing through energy efficiency, to be a new construction, you need to be stabilized for 12 consecutive months, or you hadn't been stabilized for 12 consecutive months, and your occupancy permit was within 2 years. Okay, so that you could take a photo of that. Those are the big two rules. These are the things that trip people up I've seen over the past 2 years that have really thrown into wrench in things where you can't access financing for an additional 12 months. It totally messes up your project and your returns, especially if investors. Disaster if you didn't know about this. Okay, just a little bit unknowns here. Okay, this is what I was alluding to earlier. Peak equity, yeah, 95%. That was what we were talking about last year. Not true. Okay, at the very get-go, if you're buying a house, you're 20 to 25% down on the house and the residential financing. So that is, fair enough. But then you might think, oh, but I'll get the CMHC insured construction financing, and that 20 to 25, as soon as I get my building permit, will be down to 5%. Again, not true. I showed you the timeline earlier. It takes forever to get the certificate. It takes forever to put things together. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit after this, how long it actually takes to fund the loan once you have the certificate. Right? So just assume 35% of the project cost, that's what you need for equity. Maybe even more. Depends on how, if you really want to get started on the project, like at a certain date. and you're not willing to wait for construction financing, you're going to just have to put cash into it. Okay, the other thing is, no lender wants to do small construction loans. Sorry, I'm a lender, don't want to do it. Like, it's just true. I do it still, but I'm saying that most don't. Most don't want to do it because it's the same brain damage as doing a $50 million loan, right? So I do it when I like the group, they're building more things, and ambitious people. I like to do it, but 99% of people that you speak to, bankers, other brokers, they're like small fee, not worth the time, hand-holding, rookie developers. Like there's a lot, it's not so easy, right? So just because this program exists doesn't mean everyone is rushing to give you money, even on the debt side, right? That's what we found. Probably when MLI Select came out, we were excited to do, at Peak Hill, we were excited to do the small deals. And we were doing a lot of the small ones. And then over the last year, the firm was like, you know what? It's too much brain damage. We don't want to do it. We're going to set our minimum loan requirements higher. So I've actually been brokering some of the certificates to different lenders that aren't able to arrange certificates on their own, like some of the banks. You could take it to them once it's already packaged up and ready to fund, and we do that. But even with them, it takes forever. So like the lender demand is very low and it's constantly changing. So that's something you have to keep in mind. What else do I got here? Yeah. Again, the biggest mitigant is raise more equity than required. I can't stress it more. Especially if you're buying several projects at once and relying on this program. Like think about if you need 35% down on each of them, what that's going to be. Oh, okay. So I can't access the computer here, but I actually created a tool here. If you look, apartmentinsiders.ca. This is one of a kind. Nobody else has this in Canada. Essentially, you put in, what is that, 8, 9 inputs, and it spits out your CMHC loan for you immediately. So you don't have to actually talk to anyone. No lenders, no brokers. You don't have to talk to me. The only thing is that you have to put your contact info in, so I can talk to you after in order to when I get it. But this will number of units, project cost, every type of CMHC program, any province, all the CMHC assumptions that are in the background for their underwriting are reflected and come up in that output table. So in this case, what did I put here? It's like, let's say a $3 million project. That's, a 5-plex in Toronto, assuming $1 million land basis, $2 million construction, soft costs. You get up to 95% of loan to cost if your annual rental income is $250,000. And these rates are updated daily. We pull bond yields every single day. So that's actually going to be your rate today, or when did I do this? 2 days ago, that you would lock. So very, very useful gut check that I would rely on, because and we'll be updating it. So concrete, wood frame, it all makes a difference. In-suite laundry or common laundry all makes a difference. So I definitely would use that to determine your required equity, because total budget less loan is your equity. So this will tell you how much money you need for your project. Not peak equity though. Peak equity you got to figure out for yourself. I don't know how long that's been, but that's about it. Yeah. So that's my contact info. You can text me. I have cards. You can come up to me after. So CMHC is but pretty much all I do. The point is, it's not all it's cut out to be. A lot of guys here, a lot of groups are having some troubles. So constantly be in conversation with your brokers, your lenders. Takeout financing. Sometimes they don't accept your rents. There was a group here I was talking to. You have to be aware of what's going on. Sometimes the CMHC is unpredictable. Their underwriter just doesn't like the project, or you got a manager that you just got shit out of luck and they were a little bit too conservative on their underwriting. They didn't accept my underwriting. Sorry, that's your certificate. Maybe if you applied like the next day and you got to a different underwriter, you would have gotten $500,000 more. This is what it is. Sorry. There's no CMHC has no competition. So, you know what? Apply early. Apply early. You have 6 months to advance the draw. So, you know, be prepared. Apply early, and don't rely too much on the program to save your ass. Yeah. So, be careful. That's all.